out here has got some kind of cool history. Except for that generator, it's just loud, you know, but you have to do it on the landscape in it. Now I do want to point out one of my favorite styles of architecture, this building back here on my left hand side. This is really kind of cool. I know where this, I don't want to stop here for too long, I know it's kind of hot, but if y'all have went up here to the top of this building, it's actually got some gargoyles sticking out of those tops of the floor. Go right up there below that beautiful American flag. And if you look above the American flag, he's on the left. That's the sun. It's all blinding, you know. You can block out the sun, there's some gargoyles up there. And if you look down here a little bit lower, look right underneath this bottom row of the windows, you have these pairs of ugly, evil-looking little faces. And those faces right there are called grotesques. And the guys who built this thing put all that in there, and they were really superstitious. And they believed that all the gargoyles and grotesques, it would ward off bad business and evil spirits. But it's kind of ironic because the entire building is currently full of lawyers, insurance salesmen, all kinds of people like that, you know. Even worse than that, man. They opened it in 1929. Does anybody know what happened in America back in 1929? That year from there. In October 1929, the stock market crashed. We hit the Great Depression. And so these guys spent over $3 million building this thing. They opened up about a month and went completely bankrupt. They had to sell the entire skyscraper to the city for $240,000. Crazy good deal for the city right there, but it's a beautiful building. Now in front of us you have a little arch right here. This is a drawbridge style floodgate. There's a drawbridge that comes up out of the water right here and it cuts off the flow to this part of the river and it never floods inside this natural horseshoe bend. Instead, all the floodwaters go out there to the man-made flood channel. As we're going out there, I've got a honk of horn to signal all the oncoming boat traffic. That's kind of a blind turn. This is a boat horn meant to signal other boats. It's a very, very loud horn. It's a boat horn. So just a heads up, don't drop your phones in the river. I've seen that happen too many times. Cover your ears if you have to. I'll make it quick. It's not terrible, but it is pretty loud. So heads up, you got a horn in 3, 2, 1. That was rough, man. Yeah, you guys okay? After the rigging stops, you know, once your hearing comes back, this is pretty cool. This flood channel out here is the deepest part of the river. It is 26 feet deep out here, right? 26. Entirely man-made. To stop the flooding back there, because it used to flood really bad. On September 9th, 1929, we had a flood that killed over 50 people. You know, look at these two bridges up here in front of us. The floodwaters were so bad, they were all the way up 12 feet over the tops of the bridges. 12 feet over street level, man. It was crazy. They came through with Robert H. Hudson, the chief architect that designed the system. They put in the flood channel, and the flood gets in now. We actually control the level of water all year. Now, we can let water in or out with the other natural parts of the river. It's too easy. The river starts about 4 miles north of here. It's spring-fed by the Edwards Aquifer, and it flows down south behind us all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Huge river. Obviously, we're not going down to the Gulf of Mexico. I like you guys, I do. I just don't like you that much. Y'all don't like me that much. It's a long trip, and y'all get really sick of me and my cheesy jokes. We're waiting before we get out there. So we're going to stay inside this little circle. This is the river walk, the main part, where all the history is. Now go on my left-hand side. There's some stairs over here. The stairs on the left will take you up and out to the oldest church in Texas, the San Fernando Cathedral, or the San Fernando Cathedral. I can't quite roll my R's right, but that's a really cool history up here. Really great architecture. They built it back in 1738. If you want to go check it out, tonight's the night to do it. All right, on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights at 9 o'clock p.m., they broadcast a laser light show on the side of the cathedral. It's super cool. It's super free. You know, it's Super Tuesday. So check that out. It's like a 30-minute little brief history of San Antonio. It's called The Saga. Very worthwhile. It plays at 9, 9:30, and 10 o'clock on martes y en la fin de semana. Very worthwhile. Now in front of us up here, this giant tree is the oldest tree on the river. That is a twin cypress tree, estimated to be about 350 years old. It's nicknamed the sniper tree. And during the Texas Revolution, a Mexican soldier from invested his rifle, and he would pick off all the Texas cavalry as they watered their horses down here in the river. So over 100 feet tall, over 45 feet circumference. Huge tree. In front of us right here, this little archway, this green archway, is a guillotine-style floodgate. It's got a 3-ton steel door above your head that comes crashing down every Tuesday at about 3:04 p.m. or 1:04 p.m. I can't remember how soon. We're doing the Alamo side here, nothing else. Every few years we'll use these things, but the nobody's out here. We'll close them so we can drain out the river wall. Clean it. It's natural, but it's the main part. It's where all the construction and the people and the stuff is. So after a few years, the debris, the trash, the bodies, and all of this stuff pile up. Yeah, get that out. We try to make things. Now, back here on my right-hand side, you have this new hotel being built. We have this new hotel we just built. If you look at it, everything around this little tavern got torn down. They built the new hotel up and around the Esquire. Right? Everybody can tear everything down around, but nobody could touch the Esquire Tavern. The Esquire is the oldest tavern on the river, one of the oldest freestanding bars in Texas. It opened up back in 1933 on the exact same day that we lifted the law of prohibition. So the moment that alcohol became legal in America, they opened their doors with a fully stocked bar. Nobody asked any questions there. That's where all that liquor came from in like 5 minutes, you know. But before that, during Prohibition, that was the most popular barber shop in all of San Antonio, right? The Esquire Barber Shop. Pretty cool little spot back there. And it was up here on the right-hand side, we're passing by another one of our ticketing locations. It's a very different style of tour over here. This is actually a much safer style of tour. This one is called the stationary tour. Just sit right there, you take selfies for half an hour. There's no risk involved because your boat never leaves the dock, you know, but just the Aztec Theater right there. Same thing you're doing, just starts and ends back there at the Aztec. Now in front of us here, this little stone footbridge is the famous Selena Bridge. They shot a scene for the movie Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, right there on that bridge. All right, 1997, we had Jennifer Lopez come to San Antonio and park her most valuable asset right up here on top of this bridge. Sacred ground to our city, historic to our culture, you know, but it's mainly well known because in real life, the Tejano singer Selena actually got engaged up there. So it's a really popular spot now for proposals and engagements, Selena fans, you know, all kinds of cute stuff like that. But J-Lo left her mark. Now on my left-hand side, this big white hotel is the Omni La Mansion Hotel. Opened up back in 1853 as the St. Mary's School for Boys. Eventually it grew into St. Mary's University, a very prestigious law school. They got moved to the west side, where it's still here today. This became the Omni La Mansion, the oldest hotel actually down here on the river level. Now as cool as that is, in like 5 years, you're probably not going to remember the Omni, or my name, or half the stuff I'm talking about. I am well aware it's all just going in one ear right out the other, right? But if one thing you guys remember, I'll bet it's this next building up here on the left-hand side. I'll bet each one of you guys $100 remember this building right here. Partly because if you think about it, I really can't lose that bet. But there's also, this is pretty cool. This building is like an optical illusion if you look at it just right. You gotta look at it just right. So I'm gonna go really slow, and right as we come out under the bridge, I want y'all to look straight to my left and all the way up to the top left side of this building. It looks like it's two-dimensional. Like it's a big brick wall, almost like a paper-thin skyscraper. Straight to my left and all the way up to the top. Really unique. Now it's not actually two-dimensional, because that would be stupid. That would make no sense. That's the Nick's Hospital. That was San Antonio's very first full-service hospital, built back in 1930. It was the first hospital in Texas where they built a bar in of a model floor, made it a very fun kind of hospital. You know who Carol Burnett is? Carol Burnett is from San Antonio. She was born right there in the Knicks. First hospital in the entire country to have fully centralized air conditioning. And that was a huge waste of time. Because obviously it never, ever gets hot in San Antonio. It just stays nice and crisp and cool like this all year round, right? He's so far away. A little chilly out here. Pretty sweater. Got the real. You got a drink of water, man. Hot, it'll give you 95. This hotel up here, I know it's on my left-hand side. This is kind of a cool one. This is the Hyatt Regency.
这个地方可以
It's
玩
one of
一
the
些
few
从
newer
早上
hotels
玩
you'll see.
到
It's actually wider
晚上，
and it's
哇，
tall.
相当我们
Which is really rare because it costs a lot more money to buy more land than it does to build a taller hotel. They built it like that after 2 full years of shadow testing. They tested the length of shadow that would be cast during every season, every time of day, to make sure that once this thing was built, it would not cast a shadow on the Alamo.
这地方到了。
The Alamo was on the other side of the hotel. The Alamo is a war memorial, a sign of respect and a federal law. It's pretty cool. If you want to go see the Alamo, that's the best shortcut to get there. The whole bottom floor is called the Shops of Paseo Alamo. A nice little atrium, a couple little bars, waterfalls, beer gardens, shops, art. Really cool. The Alamo, of course, is the oldest Spanish church called Mission. It's a site for the very tragic, very historic Battle of the Alamo. It took place up there on March 6, 1836. Very key battle in the Texas Revolution. A long time ago, Texas was part of Mexico. Their own little fight for freedom, we broke off and became our own independent nation, the Republic of Texas. And we remained our own country for almost 10 years, till 1845. So, a lot of Texas pride out here, a lot of cool history. If you don't care about the history, and y'all didn't know you were getting on like a historic narrated tour, you're just out here to drink and party and get sick Facebook Live videos. This is the spot for you. This is kind of like the heart of the Riverwalk. It's called the River Square. Renovated in 1972, we have got literally any type of food you could think of. Everything, right? We have Texan food, Mexican food.
我对岸也是。
We have everything, man. We have Tex-Mex, man. We got fresh caught duck every day. 64-ounce margaritas. That's a half-gallon of margarita. I'm already at 2 of those things, man. It's not even 2 o'clock yet. But this is really where the Riverwalk started. Specifically over here on the right-hand side, you have kind of a cylinder-shaped building over here on the right side. It's got a name on the balcony and a little statue down there. That's that guy we talked about, the father of the Riverwalk, Robert H.H. Hugman. After he stopped the flooding with that flood channel, he put his office right down there on that bottom floor in 1941, and that was the very first business to be anywhere actually down here on the water. He was trying to set the example and show people it was now safe to have stuff down here. Nobody believed him. People thought it was still going to flood. They told him he was a fool, and he was going to drown like a rat in his own hole. It was pretty harsh, but he proved everybody wrong. He proved it was safe. And about 5 years later, Casa Rio, on my right-hand side, opened up their doors in 1946 as the first restaurant to be down here on the river. They're the ones who started the whole idea of riverside dining. They started the water taxi. 2 of us. Everything really blew up and took off because of Casa Rio. As you can see, they're still very popular to this day, you know, but that's Casa Rio right there. Now, this little tunnel we're turning into right here, called the man-made extension of the river. You guys are not going to believe this, but we call this the man-made extension. This is man-made to extend the river. We carved the entire area straight out of the earth back in the 1960s. We did this ready for the World's Fair of 1968. Now, World's Fair is a really big deal when a lot of people coming out here. This made a very safe, very easy way to get around while staying down here on the river. The idea was you could just walk along these sidewalks and see everything. Or you were really smart, you could hop on boats. And walking is for peasants. It's gross. Nobody wants to do that. You guys are cruising around like royalty, man. Look at it. These are the common folks. You guys are the VIPs. This building over here on my left-hand side with all these flags, this is the Chamber of Commerce building. The Chamber of Commerce building is a building where literally nothing exciting has ever happened. It never, ever will. The Chamber of Commerce building. But it's very important to the city. And so I am required to talk about it. And I am required to say that it's very important to the city. That was the best thing I can do, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Every tour you guys take,
I see one that lines up with my bumper.
33 key points. Technically, all I have to do is just drive you guys in a circle and say 33 names and dates. Now if I did that, if I ran through names and dates, it would be terrible. You guys hate that. So every boat captain gets to elaborate with their own style. Now, some of us have cheesy jokes. Other guys are actually funny.